The policewoman's hand trembled as she pressed the gun against the kidnapper's temple. 5 months, she whispered, her voice breaking. 5 months that little girl has been missing because of you. Where is she? Behind her, the billionaire father collapsed to his knees, a broken man who'd lost everything that mattered, asterisk. If you're gripped by this story already, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more intense crime dramas that explore the human condition. Your support helps us create more content like this. The rain fell in sheets across the city skyline as Detective Olivia Reyes stared at the photograph of 8-year-old Sophia Chen. The little girl's smile beamed from beneath a birthday party hat, unaware that 3 days after this photo was taken, she would vanish from her family's estate without a trace. Olivia traced her finger along the edge of the photo, her office illuminated only by the desk lamp that cast long shadows across case files that had consumed her life for nearly half a year. The Chen kidnapping had become more than a case, it was an obsession that had cost her sleep, her relationship, and nearly her sanity. You're still here. The voice belonged to Captain Dawson, standing in her doorway with concern etched across his weathered face. I'm close, sir. I can feel it, Olivia replied, not looking up from the photograph. That's what you said last month, and the month before that. Dawson sighed, stepping into the office. The commissioner's talking about reassigning the case. The press is having a field day with this. Billionaire's daughter still missing, police incompetent, the usual headlines. Olivia finally looked up, dark circles prominent beneath her eyes. Victor Chen didn't become a tech billionaire by giving up when things got difficult. I won't give up on his daughter. It's been 5 months, Reyes. The statistics on. I know the statistics, she snapped, then softened. I'm sorry. But Sophia is not a statistic. She's out there. The ransom demands stopped 2 months ago, but there's been no evidence of the worst. That means something. Dawson studied her for a long moment. 24 hours. Then we transitioned to a task force approach. That's the best I can do. After he left, Olivia returned to the evidence wall, photographs, timelines, suspects, and dead ends. Her eyes landed on a delivery receipt found in Victor Chen's home office during the initial investigation. Something about the company name had always nagged at her. Phoenix Restoration Services. She'd checked them out, a legitimate business that had renovated part of the Chen estate 6 months before the kidnapping. She pulled up their employee records again, scanning faces she'd already memorized. One face in particular, Marcus Delgado, a contractor with a clean record who'd worked on the security system installation. Something about his eyes had always bothered her. Olivia ran his name through a different database this time, property records across 3 counties. Nothing under Marcus Delgado, but on a hunch, she tried his mother's maiden name, which she'd noted during a previous background check. A hit. A cabin purchased 18 months ago under the name Elliot Voss in the mountains, 3 hours from the city. Her heart raced as she cross-referenced the name with utility records. Minimal electricity usage until 5 months ago, when consumption jumped to levels consistent with regular occupation. Olivia grabbed her jacket and weapon, pausing only long enough to send the address to her partner, Detective James Wilson, with a message, possible lead on Chen case. Meeting you there. Victor Chen stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse office, staring out at the city below. At 52, he had built an empire from nothing, transforming a small software startup into Chen Tech, a global technology giant. He had everything, wealth, power, respect. And none of it mattered without Sophia. His phone vibrated. Detective Reyes. He answered immediately. Mr. Chen, I may have a lead. I'm heading there now. His heart lurched. Where? I'm coming with you. Sir, that's not protocol. I don't care about protocol. This is my daughter. Silence on the line. Then, meet me at the precinct in 20 minutes. But you stay in the car when we get there. That's non-negotiable. Victor was already moving toward the elevator. I'll be there in 15. The mountain roads were treacherous in the rain. Olivia drove with Victor Chen in the passenger seat, both silent with tension. Detective Wilson followed in a separate vehicle, along with 2 patrol cars keeping a discreet distance. What if she's not there? Victor finally asked, his voice barely audible over the rain pounding the windshield. Olivia gripped the steering wheel tighter. Then we keep looking. And what if she is there, but she's not? He couldn't finish the sentence. Mr. Chen, I've been a detective for 12 years. I've worked dozens of kidnapping cases. Something about this one has always been different. The ransom demands were specific but not desperate. The kidnapper knew details about your security system that weren't public. And they stopped asking for money without any escalation. That suggests this isn't just about money. What else could it be about? Olivia hesitated. I think it might be personal. They turned onto a narrow dirt road that wound deeper into the forest. Olivia cut the headlights as they approached a clearing where a small cabin stood, a single light glowing from within. Stay here, she instructed, checking her weapon. Wilson and I will approach first. If we give the all clear, the patrol officers will secure the perimeter. Victor nodded, his face pale in the dim light. Please, was all he said. Olivia met Wilson at the edge of the clearing. Rain soaked through their jackets as they communicated silently, years of partnership allowing them to coordinate their approach without words. They moved toward the cabin from different angles, weapons drawn. Through a window, Olivia could see a man sitting at a table, his back to her. Her breath caught, it was Marcus Delgado. And there, in the corner of the room, a small bed with what appeared to be a child-sized lump under the covers. She signaled to Wilson, who positioned himself at the front door while she moved to the rear. On his count, they breached simultaneously. Police! Don't move! Olivia shouted, training her weapon on Delgado, who jumped to his feet, knocking over his chair. Hands where I can see them. Wilson commanded from the other side. Delgado raised his hands slowly, his expression more resigned than surprised. I knew you'd come eventually, he said quietly. Olivia's eyes darted to the bed, where the covers had been thrown back to reveal only pillows arranged to look like a sleeping form. Her heart sank. Where is she? She demanded, moving closer to Delgado, her weapon unwavering. Safe, he replied. Safer than she was with him. With who? Her father? Delgado's laugh was bitter. Is that what he calls himself? A father? Outside, the sound of vehicles approaching broke through the rain. Victor Chen had not stayed in the car. Mr. Chen, you need to stay back, came the voice of one of the patrol officers. But Victor was already at the door, soaked and wild-eyed. When he saw Delgado, recognition flashed across his face, followed by confusion. You? You worked on my house. Why would you? Why? Delgado's voice shook with emotion. You really don't recognize me, do you, Victor? Olivia kept her weapon trained on Delgado but watched the interaction carefully. Mr. Chen, do you know this man? Victor shook his head, bewildered. Only as a contractor who worked on my security system. Look closer, Delgado urged, his eyes burning with intensity. 25 years ago. You were just starting your company. You needed investors. My mother was one of them. Victor's expression shifted, memory dawning slowly. Elena? Elena Voss? She believed in you. Invested everything she had. And when your first product failed, you restructured the company, wrote her out, left her with nothing while you started over. Delgado's voice cracked. She died in poverty 3 years later. I was 12. The cabin fell silent except for the sound of rain on the roof. Where is my daughter? Victor asked, his voice hollow. With my sister in Vancouver. Safe. Loved. The way I wasn't after you destroyed my family. Delgado's eyes narrowed. I never hurt her. I just wanted you to feel what it's like to lose everything that matters. Olivia stepped forward, holstering her weapon but keeping her hand near it. Marcus, or should I call you Elliot? Sophia needs to come home. Whatever happened between you and Mr. Chen, she's an innocent child. I know, he said softly. That's why I never asked for more money after I realized she was just a pawn in her father's game. Do you know he missed her birthday party to close a deal? The party in that photo you've been carrying around? He wasn't even there. Victor flinched as if struck. She cried herself to sleep that night, Delgado continued. Just like I did when my mother couldn't afford heat in the winter after your company collapsed with her investment. Olivia moved carefully, positioning herself between the two men. Give us the address where Sophia is. Help us bring her home, and I'll make sure the judge knows you kept her safe and surrendered peacefully. Delgado looked at her for a long moment, then at Victor. She likes strawberry ice cream. She's afraid of thunderstorms. She wants a puppy more than anything in the world. Do you even know these things about your own daughter? Victor's composure cracked. Please, he whispered. Please give me a chance to be better. Something in his plea seemed to reach Delgado. He slowly sat back down at the table and wrote an address on a piece of paper. My sister doesn't know the truth, he said, handing the paper to Olivia. She thinks Sophia is my niece whose mother died. She's been caring for her while I settle affairs. Don't arrest her. She's innocent in this. Olivia took the paper, nodding. I'll need to call the Vancouver police to verify Sophia's safety immediately. As Wilson handcuffed Delgado, Olivia stepped outside to make the call, Victor following close behind. The rain had finally stopped, and the first light of dawn was breaking over the mountains. 20 minutes later, Olivia ended the call and turned to Victor, who had been watching her face intently for any clue. They found her. She's safe. Healthy. The woman caring for her is cooperating fully. Olivia's professional demeanor cracked, and she smiled for what felt like the first time in months. They're bringing her to the border crossing. We can meet them there in a few hours. Victor collapsed against the police car, tears streaming down his face. Thank you, he repeated, over and over. Thank you. The border crossing was crowded with law enforcement from both countries, media kept at a distance by barricades. Olivia stood beside Victor, who hadn't spoken during the entire drive, lost in his own thoughts. What will happen to him? Victor finally asked as they waited. Delgado? Multiple charges, kidnapping, extortion, crossing state lines with a minor. But given that Sophia was well cared for and unharmed, and his cooperation. Olivia shrugged. Still looking at years in prison, but not life. Victor nodded slowly. He was right, you know. About me not being there for her birthday. About a lot of things. Before Olivia could respond, a Canadian police vehicle pulled up. The back door opened, and a small figure emerged, escorted by a female officer. Sophia Chen stood uncertainly, scanning the crowd until her eyes found her father. For a heartbreaking moment, she didn't move, and neither did Victor, both frozen in place as if afraid the other might disappear. Then Sophia broke into a run, and Victor fell to his knees, catching her in his arms as she crashed into him. Their reunion was private despite the public setting, a father and daughter finding their way back to each other. Olivia watched, her own eyes filling with tears. 5 months of sleepless nights, dead ends, and determination had led to this moment. It wouldn't erase the trauma Sophia had experienced, or the complicated truth behind her kidnapping, but it was a beginning. Later, as they prepared to leave, Sophia approached Olivia shyly. Are you the police lady who found me? Olivia knelt down to her level. I am. My name is Detective Reyes. Thank you, Sophia said solemnly, then added, Aunt Rebecca said you must be very smart. Rebecca took good care of you? Sophia nodded. She didn't know I was kidnapped. She thought I was staying with her while my dad was busy. She looked back at Victor, who was speaking with one of the officers. He says he's not going to be busy anymore. That sounds like a good plan, Olivia smiled. He also said we might get a dog. Sophia's face brightened momentarily, then grew serious again. What will happen to Uncle Marcus? He was sad a lot, but he read me stories and never yelled. Olivia chose her words carefully. He did something wrong by taking you away from your dad without permission. He'll have to face consequences for that. But the judge will know that he made sure you were safe and well cared for. Sophia considered this, then nodded with the gravity of a child trying to understand adult complexities. I hope he won't be sad forever. 6 months later, Olivia sat in a courtroom as Marcus Delgado received his sentence, 8 years with possibility of parole after 5, considerably less than the maximum penalty due to mitigating factors and a surprising letter from Victor Chen asking for leniency. After the sentencing, Victor approached Olivia in the courthouse hallway. He looked different, less harried, more present. Detective Reyes. I was hoping to see you here. Mr. Chen. How is Sophia doing? His face softened at the mention of his daughter. Better. The therapist says she's processing everything remarkably well. We've moved to a smaller house outside the city. More trees, less security cameras. He smiled slightly. And yes, we got the dog. A rescue. Sophia named her Phoenix. Olivia raised an eyebrow at the name. Ironic, I know, Victor acknowledged. But appropriate. Something new rising from the ashes of what happened. He hesitated. I've also established a foundation. For children who've lost parents to poverty and preventable circumstances. It won't undo what happened to Delgado's family, but... It's a start, Olivia finished for him. Victor nodded. Sophia and I are going to visit him next month. Her idea. The therapist thinks it might help with closure. And what do you think? I think my daughter is teaching me more about forgiveness and courage than I ever knew. He extended his hand. Thank you, detective. Not just for finding her, but for how you handled everything. You saw the humanity in a situation where it would have been easier to see only criminals and victims. Olivia shook his hand. Just doing my job, Mr. Chen. No, he said seriously. You did much more than that. As Victor walked away, Olivia's phone buzzed with a new case assignment. She took one last look at the courtroom where Delgado was being led away in handcuffs, his eyes meeting hers briefly with something like peace in them. In her line of work, true justice was rare, and happy endings rarer still. But sometimes, in the space between tragedy and redemption, there was room for healing, for a billionaire to learn what truly mattered, for a kidnapper to find a measure of peace in accountability, and for a detective to remember why she had chosen this path in the first place. And somewhere across the city, a little girl was running in a backyard with her new dog, her laughter a reminder that even after the darkest 5 months, light could find its way back into a broken world. If this story moved you, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that explore the complexity of human experience, justice, and redemption. Thank you for watching The Billionaire's Daughter.